I may have made a terrible mistake confronting a man I thought was faking his service dog. I don't even know where to start anymore. I just wanted to stop someone I thought was disrespecting real veterans and abusing the service dog system. But I think I've made a mistake that's going to ruin my life and possibly cost me everything. It started at a park I go to regularly. I was with 2 of my guy friends and another female friend when we noticed this man, probably in his 30s, sitting alone on a bench with a German Shepherd wearing a service dog do not pet vest. The dog was calm, obviously well trained, and completely focused on the man. But the man didn't look disabled. No cane, no limp, no visible signs of anything. He was just sitting there, earbuds in, staring at the ground. I immediately thought something was off. I've seen so many videos of people faking service dogs to get into public spaces, and I assumed that was what was happening here. So I walked up and started asking him questions. I'll admit I was blunt, maybe too blunt. I asked him what his disability was, where he served, if he had any proof. He got flustered and tried to show me something on his phone, maybe an ID or certification, but I didn't buy it. I told him he looked completely fine and that real veterans don't act like that. At that point, he stood up. I felt threatened, so I told my friends to step in. They restrained him, one held his arms, the other grabbed his legs while I told my female friend to take the dog to verify things. I genuinely thought we were doing the right thing, protecting the integrity of service dogs and calling out a faker. But everything went to hell after that. The man started begging us not to take his dog. He was trembling, crying, saying he needed him, that the dog was his lifeline. Then suddenly, he completely snapped. His entire demeanor changed. His eyes went cold, his face went blank, and then he broke free. He punched my first friend straight in the face, breaking his nose. My second friend tried to fight back, but the man tackled him to the ground and started beating him senseless. One of them ended up with a broken arm, the other with a shattered leg. He was fast, brutal, and completely out of control, like he wasn't even there anymore. I screamed for him to stop. I yelled that we had it all on video. I even threatened to post it online. He didn't care. He didn't hear me. He didn't hear anything. Other people in the park started backing away. Some tried to help calm him down, but he was locked into something none of us could understand. Then the police arrived, weapons drawn. He looked at them like they were hallucinations. He shouted something like, "You're not my unit. You left me behind." And then he charged. One of the officers shot him in the shoulder. He collapsed instantly, and they swarmed him, pinned him down, and cuffed him. EMTs came immediately. I thought that would be the end, but then everything flipped. People started coming forward. Witnesses, videos, photos, everyone telling the police that we started it, that we took his dog, that we pinned him down and harassed him. The cops were furious. And then my female friend, the one who took the dog, finally came back. Without the service vest, just the dog. She tried to claim it was her dog now. Said we were trying to rescue him from someone who didn't deserve him. The officer looked at her like she'd lost her mind. He asked where the vest was. She stammered. Said she dropped it somewhere. They didn't buy it for a second. The police immediately seized the dog, returned him to the wounded man in the ambulance, and began gathering all our phones, cameras, and anything we had. They told us flat out, we were being investigated for multiple crimes, including assault, harassment, theft, and interfering with a service animal. We were all detained and interrogated for hours. They let us out eventually, but made it clear we will be charged. They have everything. The witness statements, the footage, the injuries, the dog's registration, even surveillance footage from the park. Now I'm being destroyed online. The video is everywhere. People are calling me names I won't repeat here. I've been doxxed. My workplace has already placed me on indefinite leave pending investigation. My 2 guy friends are still in the hospital. My female friend is lying low, probably deleting her accounts. I honestly thought I was standing up for something good. I thought I was protecting the system, but now, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't know that man was a real veteran. I didn't know he had severe PTSD. I didn't know his service dog was the only thing keeping him grounded. And now, I may have broken him. And broken all of us in the process. Update 1. Everything's falling apart. It's been a few days since everything exploded, and I honestly don't even recognize my life anymore. I knew the backlash would be bad, but I didn't think it would be this bad. I lost my job. HR called me in, said the company was receiving too much heat, and that based on the video evidence and the nature of what happened, they had to terminate me effective immediately. I tried to explain that it got out of hand, that I didn't mean for it to escalate, but they didn't care. I was walked out of the building. Since then, I've had to move back in with my parents. People online found my apartment building, and a few nights ago someone smashed in my car windows and spray-painted "abuser" on the side of my vehicle. I've been getting threats, prank calls, messages from people I don't even know. I'm scared to go outside. My parents thought it would be safer if I stayed with them, not that they're happy about it. In fact, my whole family is disappointed in me. My parents won't even look me in the eye. My sister told me I embarrassed the whole family, and my aunts and uncles have stopped responding to my texts altogether. Everyone keeps saying the same thing. What were you thinking? My female friend, the one who took the dog, is freaking out. She's barely speaking to anyone, convinced she's going to jail. She's been crying nonstop and says she wishes she'd never gotten involved. She also started receiving threats, and someone apparently posted her address online. As for the two guys who held the man down, they're still in the hospital. One had to have surgery on his arm, and the other may need a metal rod in his leg. They tried spinning a different story when questioned, claiming they acted in self-defense, and the man attacked first, but it backfired. After reviewing the witness statements and footage, the police hit them with additional charges for filing a false report and obstruction. It gets worse. I tried to talk to a lawyer. I gave him the basics of the situation, trying to present it like it wasn't that serious. But the moment I mentioned that the man was a veteran and had PTSD, he paused. Then he looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm a veteran myself. I don't want anything to do with this. Please leave my office." Before I could say anything else, he added, "You made a terrible mistake. That man didn't deserve what you did." I left in complete humiliation. Eventually, I found another attorney willing to represent me, but his tone wasn't much better. After reviewing the footage, police statements, and public posts, he told me that this case is extremely serious, and that the evidence is overwhelmingly against us. He said if it goes to trial, I could be facing jail time. Then he told me the thing that shook me the most. The man we targeted, the veteran, is getting worse. His doctors say he's mentally regressing, slipping in and out of reality. He apparently doesn't recognize where he is and keeps thinking he's back in the middle of active combat. He keeps asking for people who aren't alive anymore. They say the trauma we triggered has deepened his PTSD, and he may never fully recover from this episode. I don't know what to do anymore. I thought I was doing something good, something brave, but it turns out I hurt someone who was already struggling to survive, and now I've destroyed my own life and helped shatter his even more. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm scared. And I don't think saying sorry is ever going to be enough. Update 2. The apology that made everything so much worse. I really thought an apology would help. I thought if people could just hear our side, if they could see that we regretted what we did, that we weren't evil, they'd understand it was a mistake. But all it did was make everything worse. So much worse. My friend and I recorded a video together in her living room. We looked exhausted because we are. I said I was sorry. She said we never meant to hurt anyone. We talked about how we were trying to protect the integrity of service animals, how we thought we were confronting stolen valor, how we had no idea he was a real veteran. I tried not to sound defensive, but I guess I still did. We said we were misinformed, that things escalated. We said we didn't know all the facts. But the internet didn't care, and honestly, I don't blame them. The comments were relentless. Thousands of people tore us apart, accusing us of minimizing what we did. People pointed out that even in our apology, we still tried to make excuses that instead of taking full accountability, we were trying to explain why we thought it was okay at the time. They said we were trying to save face, not take responsibility. We took the video down within 24 hours, but it was too late. Clips were everywhere. Content creators reposted it, reacted to it, broke it down line by line. Some were former veterans, mental health advocates, even therapists. They weren't just angry, they were devastated. Some said the apology made it worse, that it showed how little we really understood the pain we caused. But then something else came out. Something we didn't see coming. One creator, a military veteran himself, posted a long, well-researched video that went viral fast. It wasn't just a takedown of our apology. It was a full deep dive into the man we targeted. It turns out he wasn't just some guy with PTSD. He was part of a peacekeeping mission overseas, caught in a horrific ambush with his platoon and local allies. Over 40 soldiers and civilians, including local children, were caught in it. Less than 10 survived. The man we pinned to the ground. He was one of them. And then the most heartbreaking part of all. He was reportedly seen holding one of the children who died. When the gunfire stopped, when reinforcements arrived, they found him carrying the child in his arms, refusing to let go. Witnesses said he was covered in blood, screaming for a medic, even though it was already too late. That image alone has shattered people, and made what we did feel even more cruel. Some reports, unconfirmed but widely shared, say he ended up behind enemy lines during the chaos and may have taken down over 20 combatants trying to get back to his unit. Whether it's myth or not, he clearly endured something no one should ever live through. And me and my friends reopened all of that in a matter of minutes. We didn't just accuse him. We stole the one thing that helps him function, his service dog, and we humiliated him in front of strangers. We mocked him. We pinned him down. And then when he finally snapped, we acted like we were the victims. Now we're being dragged across every platform. Not a single person is defending us anymore. Even people who used to follow me have called me a fraud, a bully, and worse. People have made full videos just analyzing my tone, our body language, saying we looked insincere, or more worried about our reputations than the man we hurt. And honestly, maybe they're right. I'm starting to wonder if there's anything I could do that wouldn't come off as selfish now. The veteran is still in the hospital. Last I heard, his condition has worsened. He thinks he's back in combat. He's shouting orders, calling for people who aren't there. Nurses say he's been completely disoriented since the incident. Some even say his mind has gone back to that day, the day he held that child. I don't even know what to do anymore. I don't know how to come back from this. I don't think I can. Update 3. The walls are closing in. I've barely left my parents' house. It's not even safe to. After everything that's happened, I'm too afraid to show my face anywhere. The only people I've seen are my parents, and they can hardly look at me either. A few days ago, I got an official notice from the property management of my old apartment. I lived there for years, but they told me it was no longer safe. For me or the community. They said they've received non-stop harassment, angry calls, threats, and even someone trying to gain access to the building. They offered to let me break the lease with no penalties and even offered to pay for a moving company to clear out my stuff. I didn't even argue. I just signed the papers and gave up the key. It was just over. Now I'm stuck in my old room at my parents' place. My dad barely says a word to me at dinner. If he does, it's short and distant. My mom tries to hold it together, but I've seen her cry more times this week than I ever have in my entire life. And it's not just me. My sister told me she's getting mocked at work. Even her friends are distancing themselves. She said it's like our whole family has a stain on it now. Like we've become some kind of cautionary tale. As for my friend, the one who took the dog, she's gone completely silent. I tried calling her a few times, but her parents finally picked up and told me not to contact her for the time being. They sounded cold, tired, like they'd been dragged into the fire too. And the two guys? They were finally discharged from the hospital, but they're under strict orders not to leave town. The police made it very clear, if they try anything, there will be consequences. I haven't spoken to them, and honestly, I don't think I want to. None of us have anything left to say. The harassment never stopped. If anything, it's gotten worse. Someone leaked my parents' address online. We've had random cars slow down in front of the house. Packages we didn't order showing up. Someone even threw eggs at our mailbox. We reported it, but it doesn't matter. Once the internet has you, it doesn't let go. And then a few days ago, I got a certified letter. It's real, it's official. Court is happening. I'm being summoned. No one's been charged formally yet, but this is the start of it. I'm going to have to face everything in front of lawyers, a judge, maybe even the man we hurt. I don't know what's coming, but it's real now. And there's no walking away. What crushed me the most, though, was watching the man's family speak to the media. His sister stood there, trembling. She talked about how hard it's been watching him spiral, how he's barely responsive some days. She said he keeps waking up screaming, calling out names of people who aren't here anymore. Names of friends, names of kids. She said he's not the same. That the trauma we triggered might have pushed him past the point of return. I watched her try to hold it together. I saw his mother, this gentle-looking woman, step in, wiping her face with a tissue, telling the press, "My son served his country. He lost everything over there. And now he's losing what little peace he had left, because someone decided they didn't believe him." I couldn't finish the video. I feel sick. Not just from the fear, but from the shame. I don't think I'll ever be able to erase what I've done. Update 4. The court appearance reality sets in. The court date finally came. I barely slept the night before. My stomach was in knots, my mind racing in every direction, trying to figure out what would happen, what we'd say, how it would all play out. I kept hoping, somewhere deep down, that maybe it wouldn't be as bad as I imagined. It was worse. The charges were read aloud, multiple counts: assault, harassment, theft, intimidation, obstruction, false statement, and more. Each one landed like a punch. I knew what we did was bad, but hearing it spelled out by the prosecution, cold, factual, damning, made me feel physically sick. For the first time in weeks, I saw the others. My friends. We were all seated apart. I hadn't spoken to them since the fallout, and when I saw them walk in, I almost didn't recognize them. They looked hollow, pale, worn out. My friend Angie didn't make eye contact with me once. Her shoulders were slumped, her hands shaking slightly in her lap. The guy who had his leg broken? He was in a wheelchair, his leg still in a brace. His brother wheeled him in and stayed right beside him. I tried to look at him, maybe offer a nod. Anything. But when our eyes met, his were bloodshot and filled with something I can't explain. Not rage, not sorrow, just brokenness and disappointment. He didn't say a word. He just looked at me, and then turned his head away. The veteran wasn't in court. The judge acknowledged it almost immediately. The prosecutor explained that his condition had worsened. His doctors reported that he's mentally unstable and suffering from intense dissociation. He doesn't remember things clearly. Some days he doesn't even recognize his own family. My lawyer, God help me, actually tried to use that as a defense. He stood up and argued that the victim wasn't mentally fit to participate, that there were gaps in memory, that details of the incident may be unreliable, and that we weren't given a fair opportunity to defend ourselves. He also tried to argue that this had turned into a media circus and that public pressure had contaminated due process. He even requested that the case be dismissed outright. It was demolished. The judge didn't even flinch. The prosecution responded point by point, calmly and thoroughly, until it was clear that nothing would be dropped. Nothing would be softened. The trial will proceed. After the hearing, my lawyer pulled me aside. He was pale, tense. He told me flat out, "This is bigger than you now. They're making an example out of all of you." I felt cold all over. He said he's going to do what he can, try to negotiate down to house arrest, maybe community service, anything to keep it from escalating further. But the evidence is overwhelming. The video, the statements, the witnesses, the aftermath. Everything is stacked against us. I tried to talk to Angie after the hearing, but she turned and walked away without saying a word. I didn't even bother calling out her name. I tried once more with the guy in the wheelchair. Just a whisper. "I'm sorry." He didn't respond. His brother pushed him out of the courtroom slowly, deliberately. Before they reached the door, the guy looked back over his shoulder. His face was red, eyes wet, but he didn't say a thing. And then they were gone. I don't know what's coming next. But whatever it is, I deserve it. Update 5. The trial, no more illusions. The trial started. I thought I was prepared. I thought maybe after everything, the public outrage, the media storm, the threats, the sleepless nights, I had already felt the worst of it. I was wrong. From the beginning, it was brutal. Witness after witness took the stand. People who were there that day. People who recorded what we did. One woman was crying as she testified, describing how she saw us pin him down while he begged for his dog back. Another man said he tried to help and was shoved aside by one of my friends, who screamed that it was none of his business. It wasn't just emotional. It was damning. The prosecution didn't even need to try that hard. Our own actions played out on the screen. Videos, audio, social media posts. I heard myself laughing. I heard myself calling him a fraud. I wanted to disappear into the floor. Our lawyer tried to fight back, but it was a losing battle. He tried painting the man as unstable. Said he was a danger to the public and shouldn't have been allowed to roam around with a dog if he was in such bad shape. But the judge wasn't having it. The prosecution shut it down instantly. He was getting better. He was stable until they got involved. There was a moment that made my heart stop. It was during a break in court. I saw a woman in heels and a sharp black blazer talking with the prosecutors. She had this powerful, effortless confidence, like someone who never loses. When I asked one of the assistants who she was, they just said, "That's Samantha." I felt my stomach twist. I knew the name. I'd seen her before in a business magazine, an article about the most influential women in marketing. It said she was cold, calculated, and deadly in a courtroom or boardroom. People called her the fixer. I'd even joked about how terrifying she looked back then. Now she was here, on his side. I whispered, "Oh no," and I meant it. Turns out, the man we hurt, he's the nephew of the owner of a well-known marketing firm. Not just a stranger, not just a vet. Family of someone powerful enough to make sure every door in our faces stays shut for good. By the next court date, I'd stopped pretending. I didn't fix my hair. I didn't try to look confident or composed. I didn't argue with the lawyer when he asked me to stay calm. I just sat there, quiet, defeated. I've accepted that I'm not getting out of this. We're not getting out of this. We destroyed a man, a real soldier, a survivor, someone who already fought for his life and clawed his way back to some version of peace until we ripped it from him. From what we've heard through legal updates, his condition is still touch and go. Some days he screams for people who aren't there. Some days he thinks he's still at war. Apparently, he was improving, slowly but surely, with therapy and his service dog. But ever since that day in the park, he's not the same, and he may never be again. We didn't just make a mistake, we ruined someone's life. And now, it's time to pay for it. Update 6. We all pled guilty, no more denial. There was no deal, no miracle, no way out. We all pled guilty. The evidence was overwhelming, and any hope of defending our actions had long since died. The court made it clear. This wasn't just a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was cruelty, ignorance, and arrogance. And the damage we caused can't be undone. We stood there. Me, Angie, the two guys, silent, hollowed out as the pleas were entered. Guilty. We had already been sentenced in the court of public opinion. But now it was official. Our lives in every possible way are ruined. Careers, reputations, relationships, all gone. Jobs lost. Future prospects gone. Our families, shattered by the shame. We'll carry this with us for the rest of our lives. Angie and I made a statement in court. We cried, we pleaded, we asked for forgiveness, not from the court, but from him, from the man we broke. But it was too late, because while we were trying to salvage our lives, he almost lost his. We found out, along with everyone else, when it aired live on TV. Apparently, he tried to take his own life. He went to a bridge one early morning, alone, silent, leaving his dog behind with a note. He'd reached his limit. Too much pain, too many memories, too much noise. He was ready to let go, to stop fighting. But someone stopped him. His commander, a retired colonel, showed up just in time. It was like something from a movie, except it wasn't. The man stood there, back straight, voice sharp, and gave him an order like they were still in uniform. "Stand down, soldier. This is not how your mission ends." He froze. Then the commander said, "You don't get to die today. You live for your platoon, for the children, for the fallen. That's your mission now. That broke him. On live television, he fell to his knees and sobbed. He repeated the words, "I accept the mission," before collapsing into his commander's arms. There wasn't a dry eye in the room when that video played in court. The prosecution didn't even speak afterward. They didn't have to. That one moment said everything. Angie completely gave up at that point. She looked like a ghost of herself. During the final day, she told me she never wanted to see any of us again. I didn't argue. I agreed. We all did. We left that courtroom, each of us going our separate ways. No hugs, no goodbyes. Just silence. This is the end for us. But it's not the end for him. He lived. And that matters more than anything we could ever say or do now. Final update. 1 year later, lessons paid in full. It's been a year since the sentencing. I can still remember the sound of the judge's voice as he laid out the consequences. The way time seemed to stop while we stood there waiting to hear what would become of us. I'll never forget his warning. If any of you so much as jaywalk during your sentence, I will not hesitate to put you behind bars. By some grace, we were spared jail time. The judge factored in our lack of criminal history, and the fact that we pled guilty showed remorse and cooperated fully. But that didn't mean we got off easy. The two guys, my former friends, were sentenced to 1 year of house arrest, followed by mandatory community service. The one who had his leg broken that day now walks with a permanent limp. It's a constant, visible reminder of that moment we all lost control. Angie and I got the same sentence. House arrest and hundreds of hours of community service. Wearing the ankle monitor, being confined, walking around knowing that everyone knew what I did. It changed me. For a while, the hate didn't stop. Online, in person, even at community events, people looked at us like we were the lowest of the low. And maybe we were. But over time, the noise died down. New stories took the spotlight. We started fading into the background. It didn't feel like forgiveness. More like the world finally got tired of hating us. I haven't seen Angie since sentencing day. We kept our word. No more contact. We didn't need to say it again. That chapter of our lives was over, and maybe we both understood that clinging to each other would only drag us back into that nightmare. As for him, the last I heard, he's doing better. It's not perfect, and probably never will be. But after everything he went through, including that day at the bridge, he's been healing. Therapy, time, his commander, and his service dog, thankfully returned. They all helped bring him back from the edge. Slowly, he's reclaiming pieces of himself. That gives me some peace. I don't expect forgiveness. But I hope one day he finds it in his heart to move forward without the weight of what we did holding him down anymore. If I could say anything to the world now, especially to people who think they're doing the right thing based on a gut feeling or something they saw online, it's this. Be informed. Do your research. Don't assume. Don't act on pride. And for the love of everything, don't get involved in someone else's life unless you actually understand what's happening. I ruined my life trying to call out someone I knew nothing about. I was wrong. We all were. And people almost died because of it.
What would you do in this situation? Let us know in the comments. If this story had you on the edge of your seat, smash that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping family drama, shocking betrayals, and the revenge stories you won't believe.